car. As the senator from Virginia just said, in the United States, in 2024, 94% of all new electrical generating capacity installed is wind and solar and battery technology. 94%. And what I'm hearing on Fox News, what I hear from the not all of the above, but oil above all crowd is, oh my God, it's terrible what's happening in our country. Look at the war that's being declared upon oil and gas and coal. Saying that wind and solar and batteries are a war against oil and gas and coal is like saying that the cell phone was a war against the black rotary dial phone. It's not a war. It's entrepreneurial, innovative spirit in our country, coming up with new technologies, new ways to solve the problem. And just like, by the way, the black rotary dial industry, they didn't like it. They didn't like it at all. They had a monopoly. But there's a way to get around it. There was a way to have out in the marketplace new ways of generating communications technologies. And now there's new ways of generating electricity. New ways. They hate it. The incumbents hate it. They hate it because they had a bottleneck. It can only be them. It can only be oil, gas, coal. And all of a sudden, a new generation of young people arrive, and they say, no, climate change is threatening this planet. And there's new, innovative ways that we can move. And so, what's at the bottom of all this? The oil, gas, and coal industry are scared. They're petrified the same way the black rotary dial phone industry, the same way that the horse and buggy manufacturer was scared. There's an automobile. There's an automobile now. Oh no, what am I going to do? How about getting in the transportation business, not the horse and buggy industry? How about thinking about becoming maybe an auto dealer in Ohio? How about moving on rather than being a horse and buggy company? Yeah, no, we're stopping that. We're stopping. There's not going to be any roads. We're not going to build any roads out there for automobiles. That would be terrible. So that's what we have. We have right now, we have a war against innovation, a war against non-polluting sources of electricity, a war against a generation of young Americans who are saying the planet is dangerously warming and there are no emergency rooms for planets. $300 billion worth of damage in two storms, Hurricane Milton, Hurricane Helene. $250 billion worth of damage, the fires of LA. That's $550 billion worth of damage in just 3 incidents. That's just the tip of the iceberg of what's coming. And so what the young generation is saying is, can we please install wind and solar and batteries, all electric vehicles? Can we be smart? Can we think ahead? Can we have a generational response? And what's happening is the oil, gas, and coal industry are just calling in their chips. They're just saying that they want to kill everything, kill innovation. And by the way, I was the chairman of the Telecommunications Committee in the 1990s when we were still in that old era. Believe me, those old companies loved their monopolies. So there's 3 wires that go into people's homes: the cable wire, the telephone wire, the electricity wire. So now we're on the 3rd wire, that electricity wire. Are we going to make that competitive too or not? And they are petrified. And just today, this is unbelievable, the Trump administration announced that he wants to lay off 65% of the Environmental Protection Agency staff. Those are our frontline fighters who ensure our water is safe, our air is clean, our land is not polluted with toxins and chemicals. They want to turn EPA into every polluter's ally. That's their goal. That's what they want to have. That's not what the younger generation wants in our country. And the EPA administrator, Lee Zeldin, also told the White House that he wants to get rid of the EPA's authority to regulate dangerous greenhouse gases based on the threat they pose to public health or welfare. It's known as the endangerment finding. Does greenhouse gas emissions cause warming that endangers the coastlines, endangers cities like LA, leads to $300 billion storms just ravaging through states? And you know what the Supreme Court decided? 5-4, April of 2007, the Supreme Court said, you must determine whether or not there's an endangerment, EPA. And EPA, if you make that determination that it is an endangerment, you then have to do something about it. That's what's ticking them off. Now, I will tell you, in a footnote in his dissent, Justice Scalia said, in voting no, Justice Scalia said, what's next? The regulation of flatulence from cows? Where are they going with all this craziness? You know where we're going? You know where we went? We went to 94% of all new electrical generation capacity in the United States in 2024 is wind and solar and battery technology. That's where we went because there was an endangerment, because you knew what was happening. And by the way, even the IRA that was passed just in 2022, it's already unleashed $400 billion of public and private investment. It's created 400,000 new jobs, 400,000 new jobs in the clean energy sector. Oil, gas, and coal are petrified. They're the black rotary dial phone of 2025. They can see what's happening. It's change. It's a brand new era. It's almost as though somehow or other they've found enough allies here to lock us into the past, to lock us into the 19th century, lock us into the 20th century. Kids don't want to go backwards. They don't want to look at the world in a rearview mirror. They want to look ahead at a brighter, better, safer, cleaner future. And that's what's going on. It's threatening the business model of all of these people. So I directly questioned Lee Zeldin on this exact issue in his hearing before the Environment and Public Works Committee, because I knew he wouldn't have the courage or the ability to stand up to the demands of Trump's big oil and big gas and big coal donors, because if these donors tell Zeldin to wipe any policy meant to protect public health and the planet off the books, it seems he's ready to take out an eraser and to hop to it, regardless of the science, regardless of the law, regardless of the well-being of the American people in the long run, especially young people. The Green New Deal generation, they want change. They want action. They want to move the same way we moved from a black rotary dial phone to this. Only took 20 years. Would have seemed impossible to a black rotary dial phone manufacturer. But it happened because you trusted young people to do the work. And what else is Trump doing for his fossil fuel friends? He's taking their money while he costs you your money. Trump's billionaire oil and gas donors promised him $1 billion last April in a meeting if Trump would take all of the clean energy incentives off of the books. $1 billion. This is all pay to play. And they raised the money for him. And he delivered a sham energy emergency executive order that is already forcing working families to pay more in order to line the pockets of those big oil, big gas, big coal donors. This emergency is a lie. The United States is already the world's largest oil and gas producer. It's the largest exporter of LNG in the world. It's a lie, it's a lie, it's a lie. Everything Donald Trump says about an energy emergency is a lie to the American people, because he has to lie to cover up the fact that oil and gas production is up, but they're so greedy, they want this body and the EPA to kill wind and solar, battery storage technologies, all electric vehicles. That's how greedy they are. It's not enough that they have their largest production capacity in history, because this is really an excuse for Trump and Musk to rig the rules for big oil so they can produce the dirty energy, more easily seize Americans' lands and pollute the air and water. They want to go on public land now to drill for oil and gas, even though we don't need it. We don't need it. There's a revolution that if we just let it unfold, it would be 94% next year, 94% the next year. What they're afraid of is 10 years from now when everyone says, oh, I love this new world we're living in, the non-polluting, non-greenhouse gas world of renewable energy. So the real emergency, the real crisis, is the climate crisis itself, which continues to turbocharge extreme weather. It's costing lives, billions in damages, sky-high energy bills, insurance rates out of control in all these states that are having these superstorms and fires. And yet Trump is dismantling programs that reduce energy prices, lower heating bills, keep our air and water clean, and create jobs while trying to ram through the dirty energy projects that will do just the opposite. And what does he want to do? He wants to take out a chainsaw. That's what he wants to do. He's taking out his chainsaw. And he wants to call this waste, fraud, and corruption a revolution that creates this incredible economic revolution.
The time for the proponents has expired.
Chop all of those programs down at the knees. So we're going to fight it every single step of the way. I thank Senator Kaine. I thank Senator Heinrich for giving us this time on the floor to be able to explain to the American people what's going on.
The senator from North Dakota.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm pleased to come to the floor again today to discuss my resolution to block the Democrats'